Hello, basic design class, Art 114. I'm working on the Zapf Dingbat exercise, and rather than taking you from the very beginning, I thought I would try a different um, technique and show you kind of in the middle of what I'm doing. You have the Glyph Dingbat template in Moodle that you're going to download. It's basically 2 pages, and you'll see here on the page panel. It's 2 pages of 8 by 8 square document. And we're going to be adding these dingbats and changing the color, changing the size. So adding layers as we go, just like you do in Photoshop, you add layers so you can find that layer. If you're in the middle of designing, you want to add the layers. They're all visible. As you can see, we've got the eyeballs on. We're going to apply a color. So we have our swatch panel open. And I'm going to show you how to put the dingbats in there. Okay, so but before I do that, I just want to welcome you to the InDesign workspace. What is unique about this program is that it's a multi-page program where you can create multiple pages, which we will be doing in our future projects. And it's very flexible and versatile for type design and layout. So this is kind of an unusual assignment for InDesign, but I thought it would give you an introduction to working with InDesign. Because if you look at it on the face of it, it looks a little intimidating InDesign, just like I'm sure Photoshop did. But it's really a versatile program, and it's really a workhorse. I mean, I use InDesign all the time. So I think you're going to like working with InDesign. So to begin, I'd like you to get your layers panel, your page panel, and your swatches panel, and your character panel, and your glyph panel up. So how do you do that? You go to Window, and you open them up right here, one at a time. So we've got the pages, we've got layers, you've got color, and then swatches. So I want you to open up your swatches, and then down to type in tables and open up glyphs. Okay, so I'm not going to be opening up those because I've already got them open, but I'd like you to do that right now. So you've got your 8 by 8 document. You're going to get your panels open. And as I said in my directions, move them to the right side, because traditionally that is where your panels go. Okay, your toolbox is always on the left, and you can have it in one long line like that, or you can have it horizontal, or a double layer of tools. I generally like it to be one long line of tools so I can see them in order. And the tools we're going to be working with in this exercise are the selection tool and the text tool. Okay, because even though these are graphic symbols, it's a font, as we can see in our glyph panel right here. Okay, and on your printout, I've also printed out all the glyphs that you can choose from to make your composition. So what we're going to do, because I've already got this started and I've got my 10 layers that I'm going to be working with, just to show you, I'm going to add a new layer. So you go up to your layer panel in the hamburger menu, you add new layer. Okay, and I think I'm going to add a little handwrite, this hand with a pen in it. So hand with pen. And I'm going to add that layer. So there we go. Hand with pen. I'm going to move it so it's on the top of the stacking order, which is what we call the layers like this. And on that layer, I'm going to grab my text tool, which is the T. And now that this is selected, I'm going to kind of create a little text box, start it out on the clipboard and open it up. And then I'm going to that hand, and I'm just going to double click it, and it will show up in that box. So there it is, really tiny. So I'm going to show you a couple ways to make it bigger. Okay, you're going to highlight it with your text tool, and you could go to your character panel, Or you can go up to your tool option bar, which is up here, and you can highlight the size. So it's 12 point now. I'm going to make it 120. We're going to have a big hand. Okay, now you'll see that it got bigger, but because the text box was so small, you have to open it up, okay, to accommodate that graphic. So here's my hand. I'm going to put the hand up here because that's like an action in the past, and move it closer with this letter. Okay, now there's a couple ways you can make your dingbat bigger. You can, first of all, close up the bounding box so it's pretty much neatly around your graphic image. You can Command Shift. You can go up to the InDesign menu, Object, Transform Scale. Transform Scale. And you can give it a percentage. So now I'm going to make it a little smaller, 90. Hit the link so it's uniformly smaller. Didn't look like it got too much smaller, but let's try it again. Object, Transform Scale. Let's go 75 so we can see a big difference here. So it's 75% of that size. I'm going to hit the link, say OK. So we've got 3 ways. We can also grab the outside handlebar, Command Shift, and make it bigger or smaller by dragging those handlebars. So we've got 3 ways. We can go in the character panel or the tool options bar and indicate the size of the type with your text tool. You have to have your text tool selected. Or you can go to your selection tool, grab the handle with your Command Shift held down, or you can go to the InDesign menu, Object, Transform, Scale, and type in a percentage. So I'm going to go up 150%. And then hit this link so it goes up both ways and it's proportionate. And then I'm going to hit OK. And there you go. Okay, so there you have it sized. Now, as type, we can color it by highlighting it with the text tool and then going to your swatch panel. And with that little T depressed, you're going to pick a color. So the hand, I'm going to pick blue too, so it's tied into that letter action, but I'm going to give it a different percentage. So we are going to select that box, and I want it to be transparent, so I'm going up here to the tool option bar. I'm going to hit that. Okay, so that's 35. Let's make it maybe a 60. Okay. Now, so then you play around with the opacities. You can see the color underneath, which is what I want you to do. You can also create a big color on the very bottom layer, your background layer, by creating a big square with the frame tool. And let's fill that in with a color. Sorry, I've got to move this panel around. So you move these panels around. These are called floating panels. Now you can dock it, but then you'll have one on top of each other. I like them floating. It's a little bit, you got to move them around. But this is a floating panel, and I'm going to fill that box with, let's try yellow. And let's try the yellow really like lighter in scale, so it's almost a cream. So I can see those other yellow objects, okay? So there you have it. Now I'm going to take my selection tool and open that box a little bit more. So I see that. So now you can keep on playing with this. I just wanted to show you some of the things that we can do. I want to show you how you can make your type ornamentals, which was what these are, into a graphic. So you select it with your type tool. You go to Type, Create Outlines, and now it's a graphic. So that is no longer type. So you cannot use the character panel or the tool option bar to size it. You have to only size it by grabbing it, Shift, Command, and enlarging it, or Object, Transform, Scale, and making it smaller or larger, whatever you want to do to size it. Okay, so we have transformed that ornamental into a graphic. So you don't have to deal with a text tool anymore. You can just fill it by going to fill. Since it's selected, we can fill it by hitting that for the fill, hitting that, and now it's a different color. Okay, so I'm not complete, but I want to finish this video to show you what you have to do. You have to go to the first page now and create a word that relates to your video. I mean, to your graphic. So I'm going to write love letters. It's really 2 words. And I typeset it in Zapf Dingbat, which will not be legible. So I'm going to find a font that this will, I think I'm going to go with a script. So here are the classifications that I wrote about in the PDF. So we have Sarah, sans serif, you have serif, you have slab serif, and take a look at all those. They're really gives you a lot of options. And I'm going to go with the script because I think that's kind of romantic. Select script, and then you get scripts to choose from. And I'm going to select the garden grown. And that's going to be my, and I'm making this larger. You can go to your character panel and make it larger. It has to be at least 72 point. And you have to center it on that page. Or you can do it the visual way by highlighting it with your text tool and then Command Shift greater than. So that'll make it bigger. Oops. So that's what you need to do. If you have any questions, ask.